Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about laparoscopic changes in pregnancy. So I've done a very small flowchart so that it's easy for you when you go for your exams. And these are only the important points are written here. So first, let's start with the concerns. What are the concerns? So pregnancy itself, there is a gravid uterus, and when you want to do laparoscopy, there is increase in the intra-abdominal pressure. Because of this, there is less uteroplacental blood flow, and also carbon dioxide will be increasing in the body, so there will be a chance of acidosis, fetal hypoxia, and because of the instrumentation, mechanical injury and PROM can happen. So, but there are certain advantages. Definitely, it is better than the laparoscopy, and there is less chance of preterm delivery, less chance of spontaneous abortions. Okay. What are the disadvantages? As I have already told, hypoxia, hypercarbia can occur, and the nausea, vomiting can occur because of the positioning. Visual problems can occur, and carbon dioxide increase can cause tachy or acidosis. What are the indications? We will use it mainly for acute abdomen and for ectopic pregnancy. And what are the therapeutic indications? That is, just think, okay, appendicectomy, cholecystectomy, salpingotomy, that too in an unruptured ectopic pregnancy we will use, okay. And what are the contraindications? If there's a very large mass, then you cannot do laparoscopy. And if the BP fluctuations are more, then you need to definitely open up. And if there are more additions, it's difficult to pass the laparoscopy. These are the contraindications. And we have something called as a SAGE 2017 criteria. There are two things which they will cover, that is a timing and modification. First, timing of the SAGE criteria is first, second, and third trimester, which is better. So, when you see first, there is a teratogenic risk, miscarriages can happen. When you see third trimester, there might be an increase in the gestational, there might be a preterm labor, and because of the gravid uterus, you cannot visualize properly. And also, laparoscopic, they can be successfully performed, but up to 34 weeks, okay. But second trimester, when you come, it is optimal, okay, because there is no risk of teratogenicity, and gravid uterus will not cause any obstruction. It is the safest. Ideally, less than 23 weeks you can do, okay. That is a timing. And they have done a certain modification to this criteria, and they will include trocar placement and also the pneumoperitoneum. Trocar placement will use Virus and Hassan's needle, and Virus is closed, Hassan's is open, and gravid uterus will cause a few risks. Okay, when you insert these needles, there might be bowel injury, uterine perforation may be there, and preterm labor can also happen. So that's why we have to place them like 6 centimeters above the uterine fundus. And other techniques to lift the abdominal wall, like using a gasless laparoscopy or an optical trocar to see, that you can use. What about pneumoperitoneum? 8 to 12 mmHg you have to maintain IAP. More than 15 is not required, and so low IAP is required. What are the techniques? Regional anesthesia, disadvantages, advantages, disadvantages. You will get hypotension, and high block will cause paralysis, and difficult to control ventilation, to control EtCO2 management, and more shoulder pain, shoulder tip pain incidents, and NG tube not well tolerated in awake patients. What are the advantages? Is awake patients usually aspiration risk will be less. But when you come to GA, it is the most preferred. Why it is most preferred is because here patient anxiety is not there. You can have better hemodynamic control, better carbon dioxide control, and respiratory compromise and dyspnea can happen in awake patients. It won't happen here, and you can use the NG tube, and adequately you can suction. So pre-op, what you have to do? Nil per oral, 6 hours solid and 2 hours clear fluids, antibiotics and pre-medication. Pre-medication, how you will do? Midazolam 0.05 mg per kg and anti-aspiration prophylaxis like 30 ml sodium citrate, ranitidine, metoclopramide 10 mg. Anti-cellulogs will be IV glyco zero point 0.01, DVT prophylaxis, fetal monitoring of the heart rate is required, and left lateral position you have to give. And start pre-medication, pre-oxygenation with 100% oxygen. Use RSI, that is the rapid sequence intubation. Thio you have to use, and later you have to use Spolin. Thio 3 mg per kg, Spolin 1 mg per kg, and use one MAC, use a small ET tube and an NG tube. Okay. What are the other monitors? Normal ASA monitors you'll use. Other than that, you have to use a nerve stimulator and nasopharyngeal temperature, minute ventilation, and the peak airway pressures and ABG. After that, you have to check cornea, skin turgor, and capillary refill. Okay. And fetal heart rate, we have something called tocodynamometer that is measure the uterine activity, and also transvaginal ultrasound you can use. And in Trent-Ellenberg position, um, you have to position the patient in a left tilt, that to 30 degrees tilt if the patient is more than 16 weeks of pregnant. And maintenance, you can use Tiva with propofol, fentanyl, or you can also use relaxant and give a MAC of 1. Give 100% oxygen. Don't use halogen. Halogen will cause arrhythmias. Don't use nitrous because there might be air embolism and bowel can also just a minute. Bowel problems can also arise because of nitrous oxide, and it will also decrease the FiO2 which is given to the patient. Okay. And ETCO2 you have to manage 32 to 34. Use an NG tube. Thromboprophylaxis, that is the stockings you have to use. Hemodynamically, RL 2.5 to 4 ml per kg per hour. And intravascular volume, how you will see is whatever this intraperitoneal saline they have used, that is nothing but the irrigation fluid minus the fluid which is present in the suction. And later extubation in a lateral head-down position to prevent aspiration risk. And post-op, you have to remove Foley's and NGT, see after seeing if they're voiding adequately or not, and give oxygen. And other complications which can arise are air leak syndrome, gas embolism, pneumoperitoneum, pneumomediastinum, uh, subcutaneous emphysema, and post-operative nausea, vomiting, aspiration pneumonia, visceral pain. These can occur. And we have certain post-operative analgesics which can be used are give local 0.2% lidocaine, 0.125 bupivacaine with epinephrine can be given, and NSAIDs you have to avoid because of risk of ductus arteriosus closure. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this is useful for you. And if you want a detailed notes of it, I will prepare and uh, just I will just upload the PDF. Okay, I hope this helps. Okay, thank you.